Welcome to DFS Insights, where the game behind the game comes alive. I am David Geislinger, and alongside me is David Grant Jr., my cousin and co-strategist. The teams up on the block are the Minnesota Timberwolves at the Dallas Mavericks.
Tonight we're zeroing in on this closeout game for the Dallas Mavericks. David and I will dive deep into our top three players we like most for this specific game in the series. We'll break down the strategy behind our picks and share our insights that will help put your lineups over the top and into the money.
Closeout game for the Boston Celtics. They came back again, third game in a row. They fought back and they ended up winning, swept the Pacers. So do we have a sweep here in this matchup? So let's go ahead and before we get into Game 4, let's go ahead and do a quick recap here of Game 3. Game 3, Dallas a little bit larger of a margin. They ended up winning 116 to 107. Top three fantasy scorers for Minnesota: Edwards, Towns, Conley. And top three for Dallas was Doncic, Irving, and PJ Washington. So with that, the optimal lineup, nothing surprising there. Luka at MVP. Edwards did have a decent game, enough to keep him in the star. PJ Washington Pro. Kyle Anderson had a decent game, and then Mike Conley had a great game. But them wrapping up in the utility there. So looking at the ownership, it could change things up here. Luka did go back up to 17.5. Daniel Gafford took a 2,000 salary increase, so from 8,500 to 10.5 now. So look to see where his ownership might be more up in the pro, and obviously Derek Lively will be out for this game. But other than that, expect Doncic to be leading the MVP, probably about 55-60%, probably even maybe more there. So with that, getting in here to Game 4, Vegas only thinks that Dallas is a 2-point favors there, so 2 points at 209.5 over under. Dallas looking, the offensive rating increase from last game, 118.5. Defensive rating 114.3 and a 93.5, slightly lower pace than Game 3. Obviously the inverse for Minnesota. So no notable injuries. It looks like Conley's illness or game time decision is not up for Game 4. However, quite a bit coming in. Good ones to keep an eye on. Doncic is also game time decision. I have a feeling he'll play. Derek Lively has already been ruled out after taking that crazy blow to the head, Game 3. And then one to keep an eye out, and I'm going to be following closely, is Maxi Kleblar is no longer officially ruled out, that he could see some minutes in this matchup. So he is a game time decision, questionable, and that could be shaking things up there, especially now with Lively out. He could be, if he does play, a really good pick there. So what do you think about Game 4 here before we start in our breakdowns?
Just that I noticed that White Powell. Otherwise, White Powell's the one that got a couple of those extra minutes. So yeah, that would definitely be something to keep your eye on. So let's dive into this possible last game until we get to the NBA Finals.
All right, who do you got as your first pick here?
So my first pick, I'm going to go with Daniel Gafford. I'm just going to keep going back to this well. It doesn't really matter what his price is. Now that Lively is out, man, I don't know about you, but how he finished the last game, I mean, just the raw emotion, the block that he had at one end, the alley-oop at the other end. He kind of came on late, but I could see him just, you know, definitely getting the 28 to even 32, 33 minutes. And if he breaks the 30-minute mark, he could have another 40 plus fantasy night. So I'm starting off with Daniel Gafford. I'll be playing him primarily at the pro. Probably not the star, but I will be playing him at the pro. Um, Probably not really just the pro. So, what are your thoughts on that? Who do you got here for your first pick?
Yeah, I agree because that is actually one of my picks here. So other than the fact I didn't update his salary, but his salary is 10.5 there. So I do like him actually at the star and the pro now. That Lively is out. He's averaging 23.7 minutes usage. Went slightly down. He's at 18.8, averaging in the first three games 24.9. He's projected about 26 fantasy points this matchup. However, I'm thinking, he should be getting increased minutes. He does know Lively is out. I will be following the news closely on Maxi Klebler there because he might eat some of those minutes if he does come back and play from his shoulder injury. But mainly, I primarily like him both at the star and the pro due to this series average. He's 0.5% star ownership, 5.9% pro, and then 30% utility. I can see with the increase in salary to 2K, his pro ownership will get bumped up. Even just last game, it was 1% star, 9% pro, and 37% utility. So I can see utility dropping, due to the price going up, and his pro probably going up to maybe mid-teens. So I'll be playing him in both the pro and the star positions. So it looks like we agree there
Nice.
on our first pick. So
All right.
yeah, okay, let's go ahead and go into my second pick. Yeah, usually we don't agree on the first one, so
I know, right?
had to switch it up. All right, my second pick, I am going to go with Mister 1500 practice shots himself, Carl Anthony Towns. I don't think he shoots 1,500 shots, and neither does Shaq or Charles Barkley either.
No,
I mean, it doesn't look like he is, at least from this series. But with that being said, even with the poor performances like he has put up in the series, he's putting up decent fantasy points. So I do like him coming in at the star and the pro. He is getting 32.9 minutes. His usage is, up there, 27.1. He's averaging, 32 fantasy points. He's projected 36.5. And I think now they maybe found a rhythm where him and Naz Reid are now sharing the floor, and Gobert is taking a hit to the minutes, whereas in game two, it looks like when Naz Reid caught that fire there, he actually took the hit on minutes. So I think if he can get his shot to fall and not go 4 for 11, 4 for 17, they need him. They need, it's Anthony Edwards, primary offense, and then him. It's supposed to be, the secondary offensive player there. So he needs to pick it up. And I think he will. Looking at his ownership, he is 21.3% in the star, 11.5% pro, and 2.3% in utility. But that's average throughout the series. And just last game, everything, took a significant drop. So he was only at 17% star, 13% pro, and then 3.5 utility. So, with his performance at 31.7 last game, I can see another hit potentially to the star position. So he should probably be, 10 to 12% at the star, which I will gladly put him up there and reap the benefits if he does well. What do you?
Nice. Yeah, that was almost going to be one of my picks as well, but I just felt like I just don't know how his confidence is right now. That was just a real rough. I mean, he's had a rough series, but it was rough all last game until he got into that rhythm. Late third into the fourth quarter, like what you were talking about with Reed. Um, but man, 0 for 9 from three. Hopefully he doesn't. If he misses his first two, he just does the post thing and does Carl Anthony Towns things that. Uh, but I think it's a great play. His ownership should be low after another bad game, but his shot attempts should still be there. So his potential to score high is definitely there. So yeah, great pick. I'll be having him at the Star and the Pro as well. So great pick there. Um, Getting over to my second pick, I'm actually going to be going to Mr. PJ Washington. Uh, Basically, again, with Lively going out, PJ Washington is, man, he's just been on fire lately. Um, if he's hitting every single three from the corner, I don't know why they're not guarding him. If he's in the corner, he's hitting the three ball. His minutes are there. He he's he's been consistent at least with his floor. I know his price, it's been up, it's been down. Um, I think 11.5 is actually a good price for him. I'll be playing him primarily. I mean, I'll be playing him at the Star, the Pro, and the Utility because he definitely could also have another, you know, breakout type game or just get more shot attempts. Um, and yeah, so I'll be playing Gafford and PJ Washington boatload and mixing them all up and down the positions for the ownership leverage. So, what's your thought on PJ Washington?
Yeah, I think FanDuel's is accounting for him to make up probably that time for Lively as well because I mean he went from 9K in game 3 to back up to 11.5 where he was in game 1 and then game 2 he was 11K salary. So yeah, I guess he didn't stay down there at that bottom tier too long. But now he's getting the minutes. He needs. I would like to see a little bit more out of him if I'm going to put him up in the Star. I do think he can be Star potential. We've seen it. Mid 30s, even that 55 game against OKC there. But I'll probably be playing him in the Pro, and I'll sprinkle him in that Star position as well because and that's also another person I'll be following that Maxi Kleber news on too because if he comes in, we could see him go back
Yeah,
down to the mid 30 minutes and not that 40 plus. So yeah,
yeah, for sure. Uh, right on. So then, for my final play, so man, I noticed Tim Hardaway Jr. actually got no minutes last game, which is pretty crazy. Um, and my last play is going to be Derek Jones Jr. again. I'm going back to the well. He had an amazing first half, if not first quarter. He had those fantasy points in the first quarter. I mean, I'm not kidding. Uh, and I was so hyped. I was like, oh, yep, here we go. I knew it at home. He took 4 shots all game because Kyrie took over the game basically in the third and fourth quarter. It was the Kyrie Lucas show just the whole second half. So my only fear is that's what's going to happen again because the superstars are going to close out this final game. However, um, they're whatever adjustment Minnesota might try to make to try to stop Kyrie or slow down Luca or something might give Derek Jones some more shots. It could even be a little bit more of a blowout. I just feel like Minnesota's mentally not there. I just see them kind of waving the white flag. So I'm really just not as heavy on them as I would have been like the Indiana guys tonight. I felt like they were out there fighting really hard. Uh, and that was still a great ball game to watch. I feel like Minnesota is just, young, deflated, and yeah. So I'm going back to the Derek Jones well at 8,500 again. I'll have him at utility, but I am still going to be putting him up there at the pro spot as well. Um, yeah. So I got him here as my final play. What are your thoughts on him going back to that well? And who do you got here for your final play?
yeah. I like him. I mean, I like his, at the 8,500. He does have the potential there. So, and like I said, I had him in quite a few lineups in game 3. I was super stoked when, he basically went off. Like, I'm like, oh man, I should have maybe even put him up in star. Uh, and then all of a sudden it just flatlined for the last 2, 3, 4, second, third, fourth quarter. I don't know what happened. They made some adjustment, obviously. Minnesota, and then, like you mentioned, Kyrie and Luca basically took over. They both ended with 33 points each. So if they're throwing up shots, less shots for him. But Yeah, for me to roster him up there, even in the pro, I gotta look at my lineups and stuff like that to see, um, how that pans out. But I can see it's going to be another Luka Kyrie, especially now that Boston wrapped up the series. They need to wrap it up too, so they can get the 10 days of rest, especially
Yeah,
they need it. So yeah, I'll be
big
a
time.
little probably at or maybe under the field with Derek Jones in this matchup, I believe.
So, I do agree. The whole reason I didn't go Luca or Kyrie tonight was because to me that's just like that's obvious. I'm going to be going so much Luca Kyrie because I feel like they're going to be closing it out. So I wanted to give a couple other plays out here, to our listeners that just aren't just the super obvious people. So
No, yeah, no,
I'm just
it's a
hoping
good,
Minnesota makes
yeah,
it.
it's a good pick. I like him at his salary. It's just like I said with Luca and Kyrie taking over, it's it's a little
Yeah.
dicey over there.
Yep.
Um,
Agreed. Agreed. So, right on. Who you got here for your final pick?
yeah, and I think if you're going to be playing Kyrie and Luca with those salaries, you're going to have to, maybe throw in my pick here. I went here with it's a leverage slash more value play. Mr. Jaden Harden seems to be he's been coming alive here in this series. He didn't get too much game time against the last series, OKC, but sitting at 7K utility, he's getting about 11 minutes. His usage when he's in the game, crazy, 23. He's averaging, in the series 11.1. He's only projected about 10, but I can see him if he's getting into a rhythm, getting his shots to fall, him potentially getting a few extra minutes, and that's all you need from a 7K player. And like David mentioned, if he's going Luca and Kyrie, a 17.5 salary for Luca and a 14K salary for Irving, you're going to need one of these 7K, 6K players to get you those 10 to 20 fantasy points down there in the utility, and that's why I like Jaden Harding. He's been aggressive when he has the ball. He seems to have no fear, being that where he is, especially when obviously he has other people on the floor that he can pass to and stuff. But he's taking it to the rim, getting to the line. He's only 5% average in the series at ownership, and then last game he was only at 5.5% in the utility. So
Yeah.
he's even a good leverage play down there. Just hoping, obviously, he gets more minutes and hopefully catches a little hot hand to get him those extra minutes.
Yeah. Nice. Yep, I agree. I think that's a great play. I almost picked that one as well. I did notice, Luca going up the extra 500, and then Hardy also went up 500. So that did make the build just a little, I found it being I'm 500 over the salary of what I was building. So it did force me to do a couple of different adjustments, which is fine. But like you mentioned, great play at 7K. He looked great on the floor. He, like you mentioned, he gets to the line, he shoots the three, he plays defense. He's out there playing hard with the time that he gets. So, and with his ownership being super low, great leverage play, especially in some of those higher field tournaments. So I like it.
Yeah, all right. So with that, looks like another five pick. We did agree on the one. Was Daniel Gafford there? So
Right.
make sure you do hit
Yeah.
that. All those free things that the like, subscribe, notification bell, especially. You know, pay attention to our comment section, especially with that news of Maxi Kleblar, see if he's playing or not, because that's huge and how that is going to affect the rotations there of Dallas. So if you're subscribed, if you have the notification bell on, as soon as I post that in the comment section, you'll be the first to know, and potentially have that edge for people that don't pay attention and don't set their lineups with new news up until lock. So with that, this could be basically the last matchup, on the Western, basically the conference finals. So then we would take like a 10-day break here from the NBA. But please, like I said, subscribe so that way you'll be able to follow us cover the UFC over for DraftKings. We'll be covering that mid next week. getting out, those picks, covering, UFC's going forward here. So stay tuned with the news. Good luck. Hope to see you up on the leaderboards. And David?
Yep. Hey, good luck to everyone out there. Let's go Dallas. I want to see a Dallas Boston Celtics finals, so I'll be rooting for Dallas tomorrow night. And I hope everyone out there makes a lot of money. If you guys got any questions, please leave them in the comments, and we will see you guys on the next one.